Greetings, friends. It's Sage here. It's 12 o'clock here on the East Coast. Friday, January 17th, I believe. And I invite you, if you're scrolling along, to join me for a 12-minute Be Love meditation. I make this invitation to encourage us all to stop on the regular and give our attention to the present moment, to the presence of love that is real and alive and just fine all the time, regardless of our external circumstances. I've been talking to a lot of people this week who are in conflict. And I confess to you that I've had a lot of conflict in my own home, in my family, with my kids, with my husband. Challenges meeting each other's needs, understanding one another. Challenges feeling like we're missing the mark on some level. I like that. That's the definition of sin in the Christian community, is missing the mark. That somehow we just keep missing each other, missing the moment, and especially in my children, witnessing these just huge emotions that come up in response to that conflict. There's a lot of ways to miss the mark these days. And perhaps that's why it feels even more important to me that we take time, that we put effort into touching, connecting with that part of ourselves, that part of aliveness where everything's just okay, where nobody's missing any marks. We're just here, and there's a kind of a contentment, a appreciation for being here at all, aside from any judgment about whether we're doing it well or we're doing it poorly, doing life. As I speak this, I see this tiger cat walking along outside my car. This cat is not missing the mark, right? He's just alive, exploring the natural world, living. It feels to me like we all really need to get back to the essence of what it means to be alive, which is not measured in any way. One of the things my husband and I spoke about last night was just remembering that we ourselves as human beings are not problems. Like, I am not a problem. He is not a problem. My children are not problems. We're living beings. We're incredible. We're part of life itself. We are not the problem. And yet, together, as we aggregate as human beings, problems arise, challenges arise. And I definitely much prefer the term challenge to problem. There are challenges to communication, to sharing, to cooperation, so many challenges. And as a family, we're really working to reorient how we deal with these challenges to hopefully get on to a place where we really feel and recognize that we're all on the same team, that we love each other deeply, that together we're fine, we're here, we're alive. Through some miracle of birth, and love, I have these humans in my life that I care for so deeply. And we have these challenges to face, these problems that emerge in navigating this material world. And we have a choice in every moment about how we respond to them. My suggestion to you is that, my suggestion to myself is that we have more resources to meet these problems, to meet these challenges when we are grounded in love, in our inherent belongingness, when we're not telling a story about how we don't belong and we won't belong until we solve this problem and we fix this situation and we set everything right. Because if you've paid any attention to the external world, things get set right and then they get set wrong. They come together and they break apart. The forms of life are just always changing. And so any pursuit that's focused on fixing all the conflict, fixing all the problems, and having this idea that then we will be connected to ourselves, then we can rest in love, is really an illusion. We have to find a way to rest in love now, in the midst of all of our problems, of all of our challenges, of all of the imperfections. And I don't know if you noticed this, but I really kind of took a deep dive into what creates problems yesterday. And, you know, at this point in 2025, we human beings, we've come up with a lot of solutions, right? We have cars that drive us around. We have Starbucks where you can get coffee. We have water bottles so you always stay hydrated. We have all kinds of solutions. And perhaps just as many, if not more, problems. And I know this is where I often get tempted to believe that there was this sort of golden age when there were fewer solutions, but also fewer problems, when life was a little bit more immediate and we knew what was most important, right? We need food, we need shelter, we need to care for each other when we're ill, we need community. I certainly fantasize that there was a time when human life was less problematic. That somehow, as our brains have evolved and we've noticed more things, we've set out all kinds of opportunities for how to live differently, how to improve things. We've created more and more ideals of how life can be improved, which is incredible, beautiful, creative. But it also creates more and more opportunities for us to feel like we are not living into our ideals. I definitely feel like my psyche carries a whole lot more expectations than perhaps the psyche of my grandmother or my great-grandmother or my great-great-grandmother. Perhaps the expectations they dealt with were more limiting. And I'm sure, and they were. I mean, that's what we see in history. They had less freedom on some level, because women had to do certain things and men had to do certain things, and there was not a lot of wiggle room. And it's funny that today, on some level, there's a whole lot more wiggle room, a whole lot more opportunity for us to go in many different directions, to try so many different things, live into so many different identities. And yet so often we miss the joy of that freedom, because instead of seeing it as all of these opportunities to find our own path, we just see all these ideals, all these things we should be doing, and we get stuck in trying to meet them all, trying to fulfill all of those ideals instead of seeing them as just possible pathways and really getting clear on what pathway we are called to walk. So my prayer, my hope is that the more we can become grounded in love in the present moment, the more we can recognize that there is this life flowing through that is not a problem, that is just an incredible opportunity to be alive. And maybe we'll be a little more free. We'll be able to be a little bit more free in this world. Free to be at peace, to choose to be at peace, and to not wait for external circumstances to be set right so that we can finally be at peace. To have a seed of peace in all of our circumstances, when things are going well and when they're going as we perceive them poorly, when they're hard, when they're easy. It's my belief that that peace is the church within, the new church within. That peace is the presence of God within, the kingdom of heaven within. And it's beyond words. It's just aliveness without definition, and definitely without measuring or plotting improvement. We've been on a path of improvement for a long time, our human species, and we've created some beautiful things and we've created some terrible things. I think now is the time to let all of those stories be curious about them, observe them, appreciate them, but don't let them define you. Don't let them define us. Let's not be trapped in these stories. Let's just see them as part of the creative design and realize we have the freedom to tell our own stories, to tell new ones, and in so doing to weave a new world. Anyway, that's my prayer for you and for me on this Friday, January 17th. I pray you have a beautiful MLK weekend, and be love, friends. We'll see you soon.